Morning, class 11. Today we're going to start with the next important topic from the chapter National Movement. And today we're going to speak about the Partition of Bengal. Now, children, before going to the Partition of Bengal, the important decision that was, or you can call it as a historical decision taken by Lord Curzon, who had become the Viceroy and the Governor General of India in 1899 from 1905. Now, prior to Lord Curzon coming to India, as we already mentioned and already know that Lord Curzon, being a staunch imperialist, he was against the nationalist movement that was taking its wave in India. And we also know that Bengal had become the nerve center of all your extremist activities, because we had seen the first phase of the national movement being the constitutional means of agitation that did not work. Now, with this partition of Bengal, it becomes more violent and it moreover turns into your extremist, extremism. Okay, after the partition of Bengal, it becomes more intense. Now, why does Lord Curzon choose to divide Bengal? And he has just one point to mention here, that is the keyword, children: territorial readjustment. Okay, the readjustment of the territory. Now, when you talk about Bengal as of today, okay, Bengal as compared to the province then during the British time, at that time, your British province, it is called the British provinces of the British India. Today we call it as state, then we used to call it as your province. So then Bengal comprised of Bengal, the whole of Bengal today, what we call Bihar and Orissa. So you can imagine the territory and how huge Bengal would have been then. Okay, so it had been formed as a single province in 1765. By 1900, the province had grown too large to handle under a single administration. And that was the main reason what Lord Curzon puts in forward as why he wants to partition Bengal. But that was the official reason given by Lord Curzon. As we know, the motive of the British was what was the main motive of the Britishers? Was to curb the nationalist movement and, of course, to curb the Indian National Congress, that was the vanguard, as I mentioned yesterday, that was the vanguard, the protectorate of your Indian national movement. Okay, so then we have Lord Curzon and then his historical decision that we call it as the Partition of Bengal. And this is the first Partition of Bengal, the first phase. And we see the second phase of Partition of Bengal again in 1947. Okay, after your partition, after your India independence. Now, you can see the map of the Bengal province here, children, that has been divided. Okay, that is East Bengal and West Bengal. Now, West Bengal, you can see the districts there as a, that is all colored in red, and with the dark green, that is your Eastern Bengal. That was after your division in 1905. But 1911, again, we have the reunification of Bengal as one province, and then later it is divided after your partition of India. Okay, children, so please look at the map here. Now, why did Lord Curzon partition Bengal? And this is the official reason what Lord Curzon had given. As we know, the Britishers were suspicious of political activities in Bengal. And why particularly only in Bengal? As I mentioned yesterday, why? Because we have the so-called Bengali intellectuals here in Bengal. They're the Bengali intellectuals, they call themselves, and they've talked about their high, of course, intellectuals, they are there. They had their, the culture was very rich, okay, and they were all commerce people, with good trade and occupation. So that was only confined here, and this was the class of the intellectual people, and that is why it could not become a mass movement, even if we see in the first phase of the national movement. But in the second phase of the national movement, it becomes an extremist form of agitation. Why? Because it turns into your mass movement after the partition of Bengal, because we have the grassroots level people also participating here, that is in the anti-partition movement. Okay, but particularly now, Bengal was the nerve center of all political activities, and that is why Lord Curzon, he intended to partition Bengal, and not only Lord Curzon, the whole of the British government. Now, during the British rule, Bengal had become the center of revolutionary activities, I already said that, and mass struggle against the British rule. But we cannot precisely call it as a mass struggle here again, because, as I said, it was only the intellectual people, only the educated people, the zamindars who had, had sent their children to England to study, and once they came back, they knew the true nature of the Britishers. And these were the intellectual people only confined to there, and it was only engulfed in that part of the intellectual people. And to curb the nationalist movement, okay, so 19 July 1905, the Viceroy of India, okay, and children, you have to know the meaning of Viceroy and Governor General, the representative of the British Crown in India. So like of today, we talk about the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister. So the Viceroy becomes the Chief Minister and the Governor General the Prime Minister. So you have to know that, okay children, they are the representative of the British Indian then. So to curb the nationalist movement, 19 July 1905, the Viceroy of India, Lord Curzon, announces the Partition of Bengal. Now, what was the official reason for the partition? One keyword, please do not forget it, that is the territorial reorganization. And we know, as I already mentioned, one whole province of Bengal comprised of Bihar, Orissa and Bengal as a whole. So obviously the question arises of vastness of province. Now the province was spread over the area of 1,89,000 square miles with the population of 80 million, which is too vast to be managed by one lieutenant governor. Okay, so that was what the official reason he gave. He could not make a chore for the whole province due to its vastness in his tenure. So at this time of him being the Viceroy of India, okay, he could not complete, the tour of the whole of the province, and therefore I have to partition Bengal. So it is the vastness of province, 1,89,000 square miles, and therefore he cannot make a tour. So that was first official reason given by Lord Curzon. Then he speaks about limited sources of communication. Communication, again, the transport system. Okay, why? Because the geographical area of India was such, okay, it was limited due to the rivers and forest. Okay, until then, there were no such mode of communication, had not become, so much. Like your railways had not become so much developed, and it was not accessible, okay, to your hilly areas, okay, that's covered with rivers and forest, and hence he could not be able to make a tour of the country because of your limited sources of communication. Now the law and order condition of the provinces was also worst due to inefficient management because of the vastness of the provinces that leads to the limited sources of communication and of course the inefficiency in management. Therefore, the need of partition was felt, so that he is trying to give a valid reason for the partition. And of course the differences of languages. Now the languages here were the natives of West Bengal and the East Bengal. And West Bengal comprised of all those people speaking different languages like Oriya, Orissa, okay, West Bengal, Bengali, and you have the Bhojpuri, all those language speaking people in West Bengal. And East Bengal, particularly Muslim, okay, majority people, okay, so they were Muslims. So that's how the culture also did not match, and they had to divide Bengal into two different provinces, okay, that then they used to call provinces, and now we call it state. So it has to be divided into two different provinces. So the natives of West Bengal considered themselves superior in civilization, as I already said, because they thought themselves to be intellectuals. So they were superior in civilizations to the residents of East Bengal, okay, the Muslim people. As of today, we know them as Bengali Muslims, we call from your Bangladesh, because today East Bengal is your Bangladesh. So the condition demanded for the division of province. So, division has to be done. And of course, the need of the time. It was the need of the time then. The division of Bengal was a need of the time, and to develop trade in East Bengal and to promote the part of Chittagong, that is Dhaka, okay, that had to be done, because of only the prosperity and all the professionals and all the industries were all focused only in West Bengal, and East Bengal was not given the promotion, okay, for industries, okay, that was there, the main Chittagong there in Dhaka, okay, in East Bengal. So that had to be promoted, and so that was the need at the time. So that could be done only if there was division of provinces, and that is the state. Now, finally, the partition of Bengal was calculated, and the final, the reason given by Lord Curzon was that he wanted to restore efficiency in the government. Okay, as I already said, there was the territorial readjustment had to be done. If that wouldn't be done, then there wouldn't be the efficiency in the government, okay, the mismanagement. So that for to restoring your efficiency in the government, the administration one-handed could not do that, okay. Therefore took local initiative, okay, had to encourage the local initiative for progress and development of the on the other hand as well. So for the development of your the trade or commerce, okay, the promotion of the place, everything, they had to divide Bengal into two halves. So therefore Curzon partitions Bengal and formed two new provinces, that is East Bengal and West Bengal. Now East Bengal consisted of your Dhaka being the capital, Assam, Kaula, Rangapur and Bogra districts. So that was one area, East Bengal, and that was for the Muslim majority people. And this side we have West Bengal, that constituted of a Hindu majority, Bihar and Orissa. Okay, well, many people did, propagate that, this division is okay. They did accept it, the Bengali did accept it, but not on the basis of your provinces, but basis on your language. Okay, that's how, of course, later on the first country, to say the first state, okay, to have an independent state on basis of language becomes Orissa, Oriya language. Yes, so at that time they had asked for it, but then it was not on the basis of language, that is your linguistic, reorganization of the state did not take place then. It took place on the basis of the majority of the people, that is the Muslims and the Hindus. But that, of course, was not for political, that was not for your administrative efficiency, but that was a mere political game, or you can call it as a political, a political, what you can say, a political stunt. That was a political stand actually that was taken by the British, okay, so that was to divide your actually to hit the Bengali intellects, because that was being the nerve center, okay, of all your nationalism in India, okay. That is why they have divided into East Bengal and West Bengal, and the people also were very much aware that the Britishers are dividing Bengal, and that's how we come with the term communalism, okay, the communal feeling, okay, between the Muslims and the Hindus, that we can still see that it is so prominent till here, because the divide and rule theory and the policy that was started by the Britishers does have the influence till date. So it started then when you have the Bengal divided into two provinces, and the people knew very well what was the real motive of the Britishers and Lord Curzon. It was not at all for territorial reorganization, but it was here to hit hard the the Hindu nationalist, you can call it, okay. And therefore the Britishers come up with this philosophy of divide and rule, and of course people did name that as your divide and rule policy. So Indians termed the partition as a policy of divide and rule, and the decision was widely opposed, and this decision comes as your anti-partition movement. Okay children, so I'm going to discuss that tomorrow. For today I would like you to listen to the video, and please make a note of all the slides that has been mentioned here and all the explanation I have done. That is the assignment for you all today, and you're going to send me this explanation of the slide tomorrow as an assignment. Okay children, thank you.